you ever think when you voted for President Trump that things were going to cost you more and you were going to lose money?
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast. Find someone who says, I'm happy about paying more for something, you point them out to me. People who already couldn't afford fresh vegetables, who couldn't already afford to put good food on their plate, are the ones that are really going to be hurt by this.
Where does this trade war end?
I don't know where it ends. I hope it ends soon.
What is your message to the Trump administration?
Just stay out of it. I mean, if they would just leave it alone and let the free market do its job.
With these new tariffs that we have for products from China, who's going to pay for it? And so many people keep saying, well, the consumer is going to pay for it, the consumer is going to pay for it. And in this case, this is an example of how the consumer isn't going to pay for this cost. This bag right here, it comes from China. It's 25% more costly today than it was 2 weeks ago. And you, as the consumer, aren't going to pay that extra cost. And why? Because the supply and demand of the market means that today there's all the onions that you, as the consumers, need. We have low onion prices, and we can't raise our prices. So we, as farmers, are absorbing the additional cost when it comes to our bags. When it comes to other inputs, other things that we might be paying for, if it's metal or fertilizer or everything else for that matter, we're going to be paying for it because we cannot raise our prices. Now, someday in the future, maybe we'll be able to increase those prices and recapture it. But right now, when we need the money to operate, we can't ask for it because there's too many onions, and that's just the fact of the matter. So tariffs don't immediately get passed to you as the consumer. They'll get to you eventually, but right now, me and my family, we as farmers are absorbing the cost of the tariffs.
My concern is I'm here talking to Pennsylvania farmers, and they're a crop away from bankruptcy. They're a crop away from losing their farms. And we know from the first time around when President Trump put really modest tariffs compared to this on our farmers, they lost $27 billion. Farms had to shut down. I'm worried that they're going to be harmed again, that the impact is going to be devastation for Pennsylvania farmers. That's what I'm concerned about. That's why we're going to do everything at the state level we can to invest in our farmers, as opposed to taking market share and money away from them, as the Trump administration is doing. I'm not sure why the Trump administration is looking to screw over our farmers. We have their backs, and we're going to protect them.
Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the...
No, the hell he doesn't. During the last trade war, we saw an increase in farm bankruptcies. We lost 90% of our soybean sales the week the tariffs went on.
U.S. farmers are regretting their vote for Donald Trump after their business suffers. Womp womp. Since China implemented their tariffs, farmers are suffering because soybean farmers, especially in the Midwest, are not being able to export as much as they're used to. I wonder why. Yet they voted for him anyway. They voted for him about 2 or 3 times, actually. I don't know how you thought voting for him would help you in your business when creating tariffs will probably hurt you. And he's said he's going to do this multiple times. But, you know, another example of Americans thinking that other parts of the world need them the most. Brazil is the #1 soybean import for China. They don't need the U.S. Brazil is steadily increasing the production year after year after year, while the U.S. has remained stagnant. And y'all thought Donald Trump getting in office will help y'all? You put somebody in office who directly hinders your business. I need these people to take a survey so I can understand why they make the decisions that they do. But again, womp womp. You put somebody in office because of reasons, and now you're paying the price because of those same reasons. You just thought they wouldn't affect you.
In his first term, Donald Trump launched a trade war with China. The goal was simple: reduce America's trade deficit, bring jobs home, and reshape global commerce. But the strategy had side effects. China hit back with retaliatory tariffs, targeting American exports, especially agriculture, soybeans, corn, wheat, all caught in the crossfire. Farmers lost billions. And to prevent economic collapse in rural America, the Trump administration stepped in with billions in bailout payments, funded by U.S. taxpayers. Now, in 2025, it's happening again. Trade tensions with China are rising. And just recently, China canceled U.S. soybean orders, a move that's sending shockwaves through the farming industry. Once again, American farmers are calling for government assistance. But here's where the conversation gets complicated. Many of these farmers, now asking for help, have been vocal supporters of Trump and his anti-government spending rhetoric. They've rallied against what they call socialism. Yet today, they're asking for the very thing they once criticized: federal aid. Critics call it hypocrisy. Supporters say it's survival. But there's more at stake than political irony. Small, family-owned farms are the most vulnerable. Many can't survive long without export markets or government support. Meanwhile, large agribusinesses with deep pockets and lobbying power are better positioned to weather the storm.
Tariffs are not going to improve American-made products. As someone who makes hay, I'm going to tell you why. We're in Florida. This hay is anywhere from $19.50 a square bale, right? This is about what we go through it for a horse in like a day or two, to $30 a square bale. Up in Maryland, where we make it, it usually costs us $8.50 to $10 a bale to buy. Because fertilizer coming from Canada is going to be increasing to $40,000 this spring for us, we have to increase our hay prices. So even though we're making the product in the country, we still need supplies from other countries, which makes it so we're going to have to increase prices from $3 to $5 a bale at best, which makes it so that that's the tariff price difference. And so what's going to happen is all prices are going to raise. We saw this with grain in February of 2020. It went up about 33%. Plus, if that price ever gets to there, even if the tariffs get backed off, that's the new price. No one's going to cut their costs because they can make it. And so the grain never went back down, even though the costs went down. And then the profit margin went up for a bit, but then with inflation, it kind of corrected itself. So it was great for a couple of years, but a bunch of people left the industry because it was too expensive. So now you actually have lower demand. And so then you're in a place where, again, your profit margin is about the same. So all we're doing is pricing people out of the horse industry, which I'm sure is happening in a lot of other industries, because all that tariffs do is make even American-made products more expensive because we need supplies from other countries. Whether it is fertilizer or wood from Canada in order to make pine shavings, or if it's that countries get mad at us, so they stop buying our soy and they stop buying our corn that we're growing for animal feed. And so what happens is we end up losing a bunch of fields. So do I not grow hay? Do I grow corn? It's too big of a risk. And then I have to flip it back and forth between the fields. This took us like 3 years to get to. We started making hay because of the risk we had from the original tariffs. So sorry for the rant and rave. I'm happy to answer questions about this, but anyone saying that this is going to help the U.S. industry, I just really strongly disagree, and I think it's going to hurt us more than anything.
So apparently China just canceled U.S. soybean orders. He did that on purpose. He wants to ruin American farmers so that corporate farms can completely take over all of farming. Who can survive China canceling all soybean orders? Corporations, not small farmers. Small farming, that just killed small farming. And that's exactly what Trump wanted. He wants to kill small businesses. Well, I mean, maybe he doesn't officially want that, but what he wants to do is make more money for his buddies. He wants to make money for rich people. That's what Trump wants to do. He wants to make money for rich people. This tariff ping pong thing, that is providing money for rich people because it is helping the markets. He's doing insider trading with the markets. He's letting people know that it's a good time to buy. Who's buying? Rich people. Elon Musk, all his little billionaire buddies. Trump wants to help rich people. He does not care about regular people. He does not care about you. China canceling soybean orders, decimating farmers. But it's going to help corporations. It's going to help American corporations take over farming. Who's going to weather the storm? American corporations, not small farmers. No, this is all part. This is what he wants. This is what he wants.
Upstate New York farmers shocked by Trump's tariffs mistakenly thought Canada would pay. It's not a mistake. It's that they believed the lie by the president. This $2,200 in extra feed costs, that's because Trump lied and said someone else was going to pay it. But what do we do from here? Trump was so bad for agriculture last time that he had to bail the farmers out with our tax dollars. So we're just doing it all again. What do we do from here?
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So, the United States of America will no longer be exporting our beef to China under a new order by the Trump administration. And we're talking, billions of pounds of beef that United States farmers export to China. So it's a big part of their market that they serve. So it's just been cut down by the largest country in population in the world. Well, guess who is fortunate for that is the country of Australia, because Australia has made a deal with the Chinese, and they will be supplying the Chinese with all their beef. So that definitely has helped the farmers of Australia. Now, I was under the impression that tariffs and all these things would directly help Americans here in our country, to include farmers, producers, manufacturers, and all that. But one of the first biggest things out of the box here is going to hurt American farmers and in the long term, American consumers.
Donald Trump's tariffs on China are impacting farmers the most, and many of them have buyer's remorse for even voting for Donald Trump in the first place. One of the top products that is tariffed is the U.S. soybean, and U.S. soybean exports, according to CNN, are now subject to a total tariff of 135% because of the 10% tariff imposed in March, along with the 125% tariff announced last week. If you recall, back in 2018, the winner of the first U.S.-China trade war wasn't U.S. farmers, but rather Brazil, because Brazil became the world's leading soybean exporter. And since then, exports to China have grown 280%, while U.S. exports have remained flat. Many soybean farmers in the Midwest actually voted for Donald Trump. They come from states that are red states that voted for Donald Trump consistently, both in 2016 and in 2024. And Trump had long promised exemptions or support for farmers, but they haven't received any bailouts just yet. And some are now even having buyer's remorse because their businesses are going to suffer because they can't export the number of soybeans that they were before.
U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter, and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
We're going to take in hundreds of millions of dollars in tariffs, and we're going to become so rich, you're not going to know where to spend all that money, I'm telling you.
These tariffs have hurt our farmers in rural areas in ways that you cannot make up for. When you put a tariff on and it's so extreme and it's so shocking, and then you walk it back, their suppliers, their customers, and people they import and export to and from, they've already had to find different alternatives.
The tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country.
In the first Trump administration, he started a trade war with China that caused severe harm to farmers here in America. And to offset that, he gave billions of dollars in grants and loans to the farmers in America. And it looks like the trade wars that are starting all over the world between America and its partners is going to harm the farmers again, and they're probably going to be in line for billions more to come their way. Now, the first Trump administration, the bailouts that we gave these farmers that time was in response to retaliatory tariffs against China. And I know if you've been watching the news, on April 2nd, we are going to start retaliatory tariffs against many countries, which will then also probably trigger retaliatory tariffs against us. So the need for farmers to get this aid even more is probably going to be there. Now, many people are framing the Trump tariff as a way to protect American agriculture from global competition as well. So the farmers are not exactly opposed to the tariffs that are going to be coming into place. But we absolutely need to continue to fund our farmers and manufacturers in America to make sure that they are stable and can expand here while they may be having to retract from foreign markets.
Either way, the pattern is clear. Tariffs go up. Markets react. Farmers lose. And the government steps in often too late. All while the same cycle plays out, again and again. What do you think? Should farmers get another bailout? Let us know in the comments.